Good evening. My name is Marlady Surena Sanchez. I am a student for business administration. I am a senior and I will be presenting a seminar for seniors executive in 2024, Elevating Corporate Responsibility and Ethics. Understanding corporate responsibility and ethics. Key issues in corporate responsibility. I will be translating the image that we have in here in the corner. It's in Spanish and it says el valor del compromiso and translate to the value of compromise. This involves ensuring fair wages, safe working conditions, reasonable working hours, and respect for labor rights. Consider how this dynamic shape decision making processes, influence brand loyalty, and drive sustainable practices in the marketplace. Importance of fair labor practices. Fair labor practices are foundational to corporate ethics. The idea is that corporations is entitled to make money, but it should not only make money, it should also be a good civic neighbor and commit itself to the general prospering of society as a whole. Current research and data. Let's involve ourselves with some data and findings, trends in wage and fair wages. In fiscal years 2024, over 202 millions was recorded in back wages for nearly 152,000 workers, indicating a growing focus on fair compensation. This means that even though we have policies and regulations in places, we still experiencing fair wages um, losses for employees. These trends underscore the impact of wages equity on organizational integrity and employee satisfaction. As we can see in here in the figure, we have um, a balance that it represents a group of individuals, and even though there are many, they are not as heavy or they are not as successful or economically successful as we can perceive a single person that has much more money. Safe working conditions violations is still very prevalent today. Common violations include denial of leave and discrimination under the Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA. Those are the initials for this organization. Fiscal year 2024 saw compliance actions totaling over 1.4 million due to safety violations, emphasizing the need for organizations to prioritize safety protocols. So this means that even though we might think United States is a pretty safe um, country to work in, we still have violations regarding safe working conditions, even though we have several organizations in place that should be vigilant and observing what's going on in our organizations and working places. So keeping that in mind, let's say we have to be conscient that if that is happening in here, most likely might be happening in other locations where we have business. So we should always be alert and be conscient that different uh, unsafe working conditions could be happening in other countries where we hold in business, especially if we have one location in any other country, or we doing business with other organizations in other countries that might be incurring into these type of issues. um, the ethical position will be for us to research about companies that we are holding accounts with or doing business with, and trying to be alert and vigilant that those companies also align with our vision and mission about ethics. Respect for labor rights and legal implications. In 2024, 4,030 children were employed in violations of labor laws, with penalties exceeding 15.1 million. Understanding labor rights is essential to mitigate legal risk and maintaining corporate integrity in business operations. As we can see in the image in here, um, respect for labor rights and legal implications is everybody's job in organizations, and us as a leaders should not only try to incentivize other companies to actually be legal and be ethical about labor rights, and not only as in here in the image is point at each other, but we should instead work with each other in finding solutions, or we can give guidance to other organizations that we're doing business with about how these things are really important to us, and we would like to encourage them to follow our directions in regarding respect for labor rights. Um, Obviously, the having children is not only a violation of labor laws, it's also a unsafe and increase unsafe working conditions. Obviously, children might not have the train of thoughts or the matureness that an adult probably would have. Um, so children should be in schools, not in in big fabrics, or in big corporations doing labor. A stakeholder perception of ethical issues. Recent data shows that 58% of individuals aged 24 and under feel empowered to effect change regarding corporate ethics, highlighting a generational shift in expectation. This perception can influence brand loyalty and consumer behavior significantly in 2024 and in years to come. As we might think, if we can see in here in the image, uh, let's say um, are spectators, not only individuals age 24 and under, but from any other age group, might be observing, even though we might think they don't. They might be alert and observing our behavior as an organization, and they are actually really involved in expecting for us to do business in an ethical manner, and do what is right. Recommended policies and procedures. These recommended policies and procedures are not only for us, it's also we can use those also to incentivize business partners, and also to follow up in other of our companies or organizations that we have abroad, to follow those, and always keeping in mind that we need to understand the culture where our organization is doing business with, respecting the culture at the same time implementing the most essential policies and procedures that we try to implement in order to effectively do business as we wish to do business. Implementing effective business policies, understanding these issues is crucial for promoting sustainable practices and enhancing corporate accountability. Emphasizing fair labor practices is crucial for organizations committed to social responsibility. Addressing emerging concerns. In 2024, organizations must proactively address issues such as child labor violations and wage discrepancy. Engaging employees in open discussions and trainings can help to identify potential concerns and cultivate a responsive organization culture. We should encourage open doors policies, and we should also apply skills as active listening, and also we have to be a little bit flexible, more or less, in understanding each individual needs and understanding individuals' background. When we doing that and we respect other people's opinion and at the same time trying to mold our policies or explain the policies that we have in place and the need for those policies to be applied in our organization, it it might encourage individuals to follow them. Most of the time people refuse um, to follow procedures or policies because they don't really understand the need for them. So addressing emerging concerns is a really important a key that we should address when we are trying to implement policies and procedures. And there are always why behind people concerns. So we should apply active listening skills as I mentioned before. Fair Labor Standards Act compliance. As an additional layer to the laws and policies in place, we must study and apply stipulated policies and procedures such as vacations, holidays, severance or sick pay, meal or rest periods, holidays off or vacations, premium pay for weekends or holiday work, pay raises or fringe benefits, or a discharge notice reason for discharge, or immediate payment or final wages to terminated employees. Um, why we should add these to our standards of acts compliances? Because um, what it might be established as a local ordinance or local policies and laws in here, for example, California, might not be the same thing in, let's say, China, India, or Panama, for example, any other Latin America country. We should be aware that these listed items as vacation, um, holidays, they might change country to country. So we need to adapt our policies in the best way possible to different countries and different laws and different cultures. And especially we have to respect religions and practices no matter in what country we are. And so that should be at in the top of our rules and regulations. um, these policies are procedures have to be equally enforced and benefit all organization members to ensure dignity and transparency accordingly. Enforcing organizational policies. We should observe trends and shift in awareness over time. We must be collectively invested and research the business area we are employing. Again, it sounds repetitive, but it's actually really important to be aware of our surroundings and where we're doing business. For example, obeying the Fair Labor Acts, FLSA, that's the initials that identify this organization, establishes the minimum wage, overtime pay, record keeping, and child labor standard affecting full-time and part-time workers in the private sector and in federal, state, and local governments. By being vigilant and enforcing labor laws and organization policies that should mirror the law in effect, we ensure proper functioning of our organization, and also we reflect proper business ethics by doing this. Leveraging Catholic intellectual tradition. Principle of social justice in business. I want to explain a little bit our image in here. Sometimes this might feel like we are separate or acting individually, or we might feel a little bit isolated from the groups, and it might seem like, that's the more common thing to do, that's the norm. But sometimes acting ethically might be um, not the norm but the right thing to do. It, it might feel like we're doing the wrong thing, or we're being weird or different, but um, in this case different is really good, and in many other cases difference is the beauty. As previously stated, there is different distinct difference between legal compliance and ethical responsibility, and the law does not fully address all ethical dilemmas that the business faces. Importance of inclusivity and mutuality. As the statement of the Sister of the St. Joseph of Carondelet says, we educate, advocate, and take action to promote social justice. The congregation of the Sisters of Joseph promises to network with others across the world to bring about a shift in the global culture from institu- no, institutionalized, sorry, my bad, I have very bad pronunciation with this word, power and privilege to a culture of inclusivity and mutuality. Ethical responsibility beyond profit. Organizations hold a vital ethical responsibility not to only deliver services but also to contribute meaningfully to society. In this dynamic, it is important to recognize that the benefit of an organization extend beyond its clientele. Employees also play a crucial role in this ecosystem. Fostering a culture of diversity and prosperity. When an organization embraces the principle of equality, equal treatment, and values diversity, it unlocks the potential for collective prosperity. By prospering an inclusive environment, organizations can minimize losses and enhance overall performance for everyone involved. Ultimately, a commitment to ethical practices enriches not just the organization, but the wider community as well. And with this, it's not only a corporate decision, it is a whole group effort, and we all have responsibility, and we all should all take part of it. because in an organization could be a few people involved, but it's everybody responsibility as a leaders to hold ethical values and do business in a proper manner if we want to continue prosper and evolve. So I hope this summarizes what is our vision and what is our goal in elevating corporate responsibility strategies for senior executive in 2024. I left in here in the bottom part references and where we can back up all the claims and statements made in this recording. So thank you very much and happy end of the year.